I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Right.
Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
Anyone claiming that America's economy is in decline is peddling fiction.
I've abandoned free market principles to save the free market system.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Raising the debt ceilings does not increase our debt. It does not somehow promote profligacy.
I know words. I have the best words. Nobody knows the system better than me, which is why I alone can fix it.
What's up, everybody? Happy Friday, and welcome to the Peddling Fiction Podcast. I am your host, the voice and soul of so-called fiction, Johnny Profita, and back with me to finish off a wild week after that seemed to take off right after our last podcast where we had almost nothing to talk about. Now we have a million things. Is Justin Hillbilly Boy Campbell.
We have a million things.
Paying attention to anything.
I haven't been paying attention to anything. I thought it was going to be a slow week, so Sean's sick. Katie had a bunch of stuff with school this week, so I just kind of checked out, and I was like, well, we'll just call it one of those weeks. We'll wait, and maybe next week will be better. And so I just stopped paying attention, and apparently I should have. Although I do have a fun story from since our last episode. And speaking of Katie having a bunch of stuff going on this week, so I had to hang around in Evansville on Wednesday to wait for her because she had stuff going on. So I found this little dive bar downtown that's close to her school and went and had lunch. And while I was in there was this older woman that was drunk as fuck, just laughing and cutting up and having a big time. This is like 11:15 in the morning. She had to have showed up to the bar drunk because I got there at 11:15 and they opened at 11, and she was already hammered when I sat down. So she had to have been pre-gaming her lunch. Anyway, after I got done eating and everything, I went back out and sat in my truck, and I was waiting for Katie to get done and come out. And this car pulls up on the sidewalk, and the drunk ass lady comes like stumbling out, and this other woman is like carrying her out, and the car just takes off. I assume they called an Uber for her. The Uber saw how like bad a shape she was in. It was just like, fuck this, I'm out, and took off. And then the other woman just walked back into the bar and left her standing out there. So this lady is like wobbling all over the place, drunk as shit. At one point, she just like bends over in half. Her head is almost touching the ground while she's standing. I was like, oh man, this is bad. I was like, I almost got out of the truck to go check on her. And about that time, her head raises up and she just all over the fucking sidewalk. I was like, never mind. You're on your own there. So about 15 minutes later, an ambulance and 3 cop cars pull up, and the paramedics get out of the ambulance and they check her out, and then she's like flailing all around, arguing with the cops and shit, and they end up cuffing her and hauling her off. So I had a very entertaining Wednesday afternoon after I had lunch while I was waiting for Katie to get out of school and come get in the truck. It was highly entertaining.
What was she drinking? Did you catch a glimpse?
I don't know. No, I didn't see what she had. Like I said, I mean, she was already smashed when I walked in 15 minutes after open. So I can't imagine that they like loaded her up that quickly. Like I feel like she was already pretty thoroughly inebriated before she got to the bar. And anyway, I'm drinking myself. So
hey, it is Friday. No work for you tonight?
Mm-mm. Nope, I go back tomorrow.
Okay. Well, while you were not paying attention to anything, just about everybody got confirmed. The big ones, RFKJ and Tulsi Gabbard. So that was the Tulsi Gabbard. Honestly, that surprised me. I wasn't sure she was going to get past all those fucking neocons.
Well, especially I did see that Mitch McConnell voted against her. God, that dude can't fucking die soon enough.
He's really just a turtle-faced piece of shit.
I did see where Mitch had another like mental breakdown where he was answering questions and his brain just stopped and he like stopped talking in the middle of answering a reporter's questions again. Like,
yes, he's having brain aneurysms, and they still allow these people to fucking have control of things. It's absolutely ridiculous just how old all these fucking people are. When you hear like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and Chuck, like these guys are fucking geriatrics.
Well,
They're screaming like angry old men. It's like, shut the fuck up and just go retire.
Remember Dianne Feinstein, whatever. She wasn't even there for like the last 2 years. She was in a facility for most of that, and they just had people voting for her by proxy. So like, what's even the fucking point? She wasn't even voting for anything. They had her like aides voting for her by proxy. Like that's not okay for all of the the defenders of democracy. That's not fucking democracy. Nobody voted for her fucking aides, and she's clearly not with it enough to know what they're voting for, or that like that. Yeah, that's a fucking joke.
And then when somebody pointed it out, like, yo, what the fuck is going on with this? Then they wheel her out in like a wheelchair. Like, no, she's here. See, she's perfectly fine. It's like, that is a corpse.
Doing her Jimmy Carter impression where she's in the chair like this.
Yeah. Oh man, it really is just unbelievable that these people are still in power. And there's people that will go to bat for them. No matter what they say or do, there are people that will carry water for these fucking despicable people. And Mitch McConnell voted against RFK and Tulsi Gabbard. I'm sure he's gonna. What'd you say? Kash Patel is that on Monday?
Kash Patel cleared all of the initial or the preliminaries, and so he will go to the Senate for official confirmation next week. There wasn't a date given, but it will be one day next week when they will actually do his confirmation. And
so, and that's like the greatest trifecta, dude. Every single one of those people, assuming if Kash Patel gets confirmed, are in charge of agencies that they actively want to dismantle. This is like, dude, Donald Trump, this is like the biggest troll presidency of all time. He's just trolling everybody. It's fucking absolutely hilarious. He's like, what can I do that will piss everybody off the most? Well, he's like, let me put this guy in charge of the FBI that wants to abolish the FBI. Let me put somebody in charge of fucking NSA that wants to abolish the fucking national security apparatus. Let me put somebody in charge of Health and Human Services that wants to abolish the fucking World Health Organization and all this other shit.
Linda McMahon is a big proponent of doing away with the Department of Education. Kash Patel is very anti-FBI. Like, you can just go down the list.
This is a big fuck you, like, this is just a fuck you victory lap for Donald Trump. He's like, what can I do to piss the most people off ever? Okay, I'm doing it. And while he does it, so he's got Elon Musk going around just fucking taking hatchets to all of these ridiculously worthless agencies. We documented pretty well the U.S. I don't want to call it U.S. aid because I think that is disingenuous. It tricks people into thinking that they're giving aid to people when it has nothing to do with that. But the USAID took a hatchet to that, and all of a sudden you have the left and the corporate press. Although I repeat myself, they're left. They're reduced to arguing for government waste because there could be a little bit of good coming out of the $40-50 billion slush fund for the CIA. I sent you that one article. They're like, this is, I think it was some European rag fucking outfit or whatever, but they're like, the first lady, the first person has died from Donald Trump's freezing of U.S. aid. So apparently we were providing these hospitals, these like makeshift hospitals in fucking Thailand. I think it was Thailand, right? She's from like Burma, but I think these were in Thailand. So like Yeah, I mean, this 71-year-old lady who needs to be on oxygen constantly didn't have access to like she goes in, gets some oxygen, and then she goes home when she's feeling better, and then she has like an attack or whatever when she can't breathe, and so she goes in for more oxygen, and she's been doing that. And apparently these hospitals just cut and ran after they froze all the funding, and she didn't get her oxygen, and she ended up dying. And of course, you know, that's on Donald Trump, because, you know, he decided to freeze the funding, and he's just taking a hatchet to everything. And I gotta say, you know, it's sad. It's always sad when, you know, poor people don't have access, especially in like these countries. They don't have access to the healthcare that they need. But I mean, if anybody's at fault, it's the fucking people who took over these rogue agencies and started doing God knows what with the fucking money. I'm sorry, we can't just take a scalpel to these things right now. We're way past that. It's okay. You guys have been fucking funneling money to Al Qaeda and transgender operations in Guatemala. No, we're shutting it all down, and we'll figure out if we want this agency to do something. We'll figure that out going forward. You can't just be like, oh, there's a hospital in Thailand that they're funding with like maybe like $100 a day or something to fund an entire hospital in Thailand. Wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, the other fucking $45 billion, where's that going?
Why can't Thailand or like literally any of their neighbors do this? Why does this fall on us? And also, anytime I see one of those fucking articles like that, this is the first thing that I think of. I always think of the heat map thing. Are you familiar with this? Do you know what this is? I'm sure some of our audience have seen the heat map. So this is the heat map that shows how different people, and it kind of blends it or splits it into conservative and liberal, how they view and what they put emphasis on and importance on in like the world. And so when you look at it, you see the Republicans or the conservatives. This towards the middle is like yourself, your family, your friends, your close friends, extended family, coworkers, like the people in your immediate circles. Those are the people that you really focus on, having the highest moral allocation, the people that you place the most significance and value on, versus the liberals who put it out here towards the exterior of it, which is all living things in the universe, all natural things, all animals, including alien life forms, like everything as a collective, more so than looking at the people that are actually so. So whenever I see one of these articles, it's like the bleeding heart. Oh my gosh, we stopped funding gender studies in Pakistan, and now somebody died. It's like, okay. You right. Do know that there are people who are literally still in North Carolina right now that have been kicked out of hotels and don't have anywhere to stay because FEMA stopped giving them money, while at the same time USAID was putting up $53 million to house migrants in luxury hotels in New York City. Like, I'm more concerned about the people like in our communities that actually need the help than somebody halfway across the fucking world that may or may not die and actually probably would have died anyway.
Yeah.
Does that make me a heartless
It's
bastard?
Donald Trump's fault that these two different, like completely opposite things are being funded by the same organization? That doesn't raise any fucking alarm bells. It's like, hey, I cut off the transgender surgeries in Guatemala, and also that ended up cutting off the fucking LGBTQ play or something, and I forget where it was, Scotland or something. Like, all kinds of weird shit's been going on. And when you do that, you also kill an old lady that needed oxygen. Well, I'm sorry, we didn't link those things together. That corrupt fucking agency did. So if anybody, it's on them for that. But this is what they're reduced to arguing. And then Elon Musk had this fucking press conference. It was like kind of an awkward thing in the Oval Office that really sent them into a fucking tizzy. There's a couple of good quotes where they're pressing Elon Musk for cutting all this funding. And they're like, do the condom one first. The condom one's great. Because I think he got like the wrong, it might have been that one. One of them, he got like the wrong country or something. He went in his tweet. He tweeted out that we sent a bunch of money to this country for something stupid, and it turned out it was a different country. And the reporter is like giving him a bunch of shit for getting the country wrong. And he's like, yeah, you're kind of missing the point. Like, I don't think we should be sending $50 million worth of condoms to any country.
An example of the fraud that you have cited was $50 million of condoms was sent to Gaza. But after fact check this, apparently Gaza in Mozambique, and the program was to protect them against HIV. So can you correct the statements? It wasn't sent to Hamas, actually. It was sent to Mozambique, which makes sense why condoms was sent there.
Yeah.
And how can we make sure that all the statements that you said were correct, so we can trust what you say?
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. I'm not sure we should be sending $50 million worth of condoms to anywhere, frankly. I'm not sure that's something Americans would be really excited about. And that is really an enormous number of condoms, if you think about it. If it went to Mozambique instead of Gaza, I'm like, okay, that's not as bad, but still, why are we doing that?
Yeah, exactly. Why the fuck are we doing that? It's like, this is their gotcha. Oh, you said it was Gaza and it was Mozambique. Okay. Still, don't want to be sending $50 million worth of condoms to anywhere. Talk about this constitutional crisis. Show me where that is. Show me where they get the authorization to do that.
What? Like constitutional?
That's in Article 1, Section 8, isn't it? Where they delegate all the powers to the fucking federal government. You can send
crisis.
as many.
I've never heard that before at all. Are you sure is that really a thing?
That is a constitutional crisis.
Causing a constitutional crisis.
In constitutional crisis.
We are in a constitutional crisis.
That this is a genuine constitutional crisis.
Constitutional crisis.
Crisis the country has faced.
Constitutional crisis.
It's called constitutional crisis. Headlong into a genuine constitutional crisis.
Witnessing is a constitutional crisis.
We're in a deep constitutional crisis. Trump has been.
Yeah. Dude, wouldn't you be fucking embarrassed to be one of these people where you just get the talking points and you immediately go out there and parrot them? And then you make it into these fucking reels of just like, here's everybody saying the exact same bullshit line as if these people give a rip about the Constitution. Nothing the federal government's doing right now is like 98% of it is unconstitutional. We've had a constitutional crisis since they fucking like ratified the Constitution, at least the last 100+ years.
It really got ramped up right around War of
1913.
But
1860. Yeah. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Early on in the 1820s is when they really started to fuck the thing over, and then which that led to the thing, and then from there it just went completely out the window. Yeah, we've been living in a constitutional crisis for the last 150 years.
Yeah. Speaking of wars, like the Civil War was almost the last time we declared a war. It's like it was really World War II, but everything since then has been absolutely unconstitutional. Everything a fucking military has done since World War II, unconstitutional. And that's just one example. It's just one. Everything that these third rails of politics that everyone's up in arms about, they think Donald Trump is going to cut your Social Security and everything like that. That was all initially struck down as unconstitutional by the fucking Supreme Court. And it wasn't until FDR fucking pressured him and almost stacked the fucking Supreme Court that he was able to get these things through.
And they're not even trying to cut Social Security. They're just trying to stop paying Social Security out to dead people and like people that don't even exist.
This is what they're just arguing. Well, you got the country wrong. It's like, okay, but we did send $50 million worth of condoms somewhere, right? You get how that's not good.
Right. It's not about where they went. It's the fact that they went at all.
Right. And it's like, okay, yeah, he got the country wrong. And the record was corrected. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It seems like the system's working pretty well. He said the wrong country. He got the condom thing right. He was corrected on the country. And now we know that they were sending these things there, and we don't want them to do that anymore. And so we're going to stop it. It really is just something to watch them. The arguments that they're reduced to fucking taking just because it's Donald Trump, like they just can't help themselves. It's the funniest thing is they're going after the IRS now. Doge is going into the IRS and going like auditing the fucking auditors of every single fucking American. And now they have to take the side of the IRS. The corporate press and these leftist hacks are going to have to tell us how great the IRS is, because it's way too their big argument. I guess they're the only one that kind of like has some validity to it is that Elon Musk has these conflicts of interest, and we don't want some unelected guy having access to all of our data. Who wants to tell him, Justin? Was anybody at the IRS elected?
How
much data do they have on you?
Here's their conflicts of interest.
If you have received billions of dollars in contracts from the Pentagon, and the president's directing you to look into the Department of Defense, is that a conflict of interest?
Are going to do at the president's request.
Does that present a conflict of interest for you?
No, because you'd have to look at the individual contract and say, first of all, I'm not the one, filing the contract. It's people at SpaceX or someone who will be putting for the contract. And I'd like to say, if you see any contract where where it was awarded to SpaceX and it wasn't by far the best value for money for the taxpayer, let me know, because every one of them was.
The president.
Oh my gosh, you're getting DoD contracts for SpaceX. It's like, yeah, because Elon Musk is like at SpaceX doing this every single day. Like he's actually the one that's.
Even still, okay. Well, we can deal with that after we get through all this other shit that they're doing. We have to start somewhere. I don't care if okay, so he's got contracts, great. As soon as we get rid of all this other shit that they're doing, then maybe we can look at the Elon Musk DoD contracts. I'm fine with that. But let's start with all the other bullshit first. It's just absolutely, but okay. They don't seem to care that the IRS has they can put you in fucking prison if they want to. You're considered guilty until proven innocent. Nobody seems to care that those unelected bureaucrats have that kind of power. Like, what can Elon Musk do with all your data? Sell you something that you might want?
Oh my gosh, how terrible.
Yeah. Oh, please don't. Please don't make me watch advertising for things that I might want to buy. I don't know what else he can do with it. I mean, I'm sure there's other stuff, but at least that's voluntary. At least I voluntarily engage on Twitter and things like that. The IRS, they put a goddamn gun to your head every April 15th, make you confess to everything. And if you get anything wrong, they can put you in prison. But which side are you going to take? They're going to say, I haven't heard the arguments yet, but I know it's coming because because it's Donald Trump. So they have to be pro IRS now. Have fun taking that. What are they going to say? If they go in there and they start dicking around in the IRS, it's going to take them too long to get your refunds back or something. It's like, okay. Oh, you mean that interest-free loan from the money they stole from my paycheck before I even got it?
Well, I mean, this is why they don't want Elon looking into any of that stuff. Specifically why the left doesn't want Elon looking into any of that.
I just want to answer a question. Senator Warren, I just want to answer a question. How did you get a $12 million net worth on a $200,000 salary in Congress? How did you do that?
Excuse me.
How did you do that? You can keep trying to block my camera. We're on a public sidewalk, so.
Yeah. Good question.
You mentioned some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about $30 million.
Right. Well, we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened to USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from. Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps. But they seem to be mysteriously, they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where do they come from? And I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at taxpayer expense. That's the honest truth of it. So, we're looking at, we just.
Dude, and I had a couple other tweets from fucking Pocahontas and maybe Bernie Sanders or something about from the RFK confirmation things like, oh, he's just going to use this to get richer. His family's going to get richer while they cut your access to vaccines and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bitch, you're fucking making millions somehow off of a modest six-figure salary.
What?
And you're talking about getting richer?
I think we talked about that. Like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders were two of the top recipients of money from Big Pharma and from the medical industrial complex. Bernie Sanders, after his 2016 campaign, where he was the top recipient of Big Pharma and Big Medicine donations, said that he would not take any more in 2020. And then in 2020, he took an additional $400,000 more than he took in 2016 when he was already the leading recipient. So he vowed that he wouldn't take any from Big Pharma, and then almost doubled up what he took, or took about 1.5 times what he took the first time around. And then Elizabeth Warren isn't too far behind him. And also I think we talked about the things that they're talking about with, oh my gosh, RFK Jr. is just using this to get rich. RFK Jr. set up a law firm that he worked as a consultant for with these cases. He researches the cases, he gets them all the information, he gives them the case, and then they take it to court, they try it, they get the settlements on it. And then he gets a 10% cut of whatever the settlement is. RFK Jr. is not somehow like going to be able to leverage his position to make money off of these lawsuits. And he even said and has withdrawn himself from everything with the law firm he was working for. The only thing that he said, they're like, so can you promise that you're not going to take any more money from these cases? He was like, there are still pending cases that I am legally entitled to a cut of. Like, I can't just not do that.
What's done is done. Yeah.
Right. Like the people getting all worked up about it are morons that don't know how to actually like look into what's going on with this. It's pretty cut and dry, like what RFK's position is in all of this. He's been very clear that like he has already stepped away from having any connection with the law firm that he was working for. So like the only thing that's left is the pending cases that he is entitled to a 10% cut of the settlement whenever that happens. Like, and he can't just like not do that. That would invalidate a contract, and that like that's bad. That's bad business. Like you don't do that.
Yeah, dude, it is watching them have to deal with like take the arguments against just the most common sense shit. That's why it's like the funniest troll ever. Like, let's see what how low will they go? Pretty soon they're going to be defending the IRS and trying to convince the American people that the IRS are the good guys, and you should really want to protect them from the evils of Doge and Elon Musk, as if having less people working at the IRS would be a bad thing.
But speaking of defending the defending government corruption and trying to spin it as nothing ever happens. We got Anderson Cooper talking about how Doge hasn't actually found anything.
We begin tonight, keeping them honest, with the extraordinary claims of government fraud by the president and similar claims of maximal transparency by Elon Musk, but little evidence of either to back it up. In fact, strong evidence to the contrary from Musk's contention that he and his Doge team are doing what they do in a way that, quote, maximally transparent. He said that in the Oval Office, wearing a ball cap and T-shirt with one of his kids nearby. He and the president, who yielded the stage to him for minutes at a time, both speaking at length with reporters. The president, who's now facing a string of court cases surrounding his and Musk's actions, addressed concerns that he would defy court orders, saying he, quote, always abides by the courts, but also saying this. We begin tonight, keep them.
They say they say that they're finding all this stuff, but they haven't actually found anything. But then you don't go on to actually source.
What didn't they find? Yeah, okay. It looks like they're finding stuff.
Yeah, Elon Musk and Doge have been showing the receipts. They have been showing you what they've been finding. They've been showing you what they've been cutting. But CNN is just, oh yeah, they're not actually finding anything.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there was no misappropriation of any kind of funds. Well, and that court case that he's talking about, the one with the judge, I believe that's the $59 million that FEMA sent to fucking Manhattan to house a bunch of illegal migrants. And Trump, they're like, yo, they're not supposed to be using this money for that. So they catch it, and they don't want to send any more money. They're trying to claw the $59 million back, but there's also I think there's future payments that are supposed to go out. And Trump's like, no, we're not sending any more money there. This is fucking fraud. And the judge, the fucking Democrats sued them, saying that they had to, no, sorry, we have Congress appropriated the funds. You have to send it there because Congress already said that that's what we want to do with the money. And the judge upheld that. And that's the order that Trump doesn't want to follow. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not sending them more money.
Magoo just sent me this. He said they're already defending the IRS. Here's one of the gay Krasinstein brothers. The sheer stupidity of those pushing to shut down the IRS is mind-blowing. Without the IRS, who audits Americans? No one. Without audits, who actually pays their fair share in taxes? Almost no one. Without income taxes, how does the government generate revenue to balance the budget? It doesn't. People need to think beyond just one-step consequences. Wrecking tax enforcement doesn't just hurt the government, it collapses the whole system. It collapses America. Look, motherfucker, this is what we voted for. We voted for the fucking collapse. Bring it on.
Maybe I should. I had to mute this guy during the election season because I just couldn't take it anymore. He kept popping up into my fucking feed. This is a level of retardation. Yes. Who audits Americans? No one. Yeah, we didn't have a fucking IRS until after 1913. We didn't even have a fucking income tax. So somehow we made it a couple hundred years without it. And that was probably the best time in fucking America post Civil War to 1913. Who audits Americans? How does the government generate revenue to balance the budget? We haven't had a budget in 25 fucking years, dude. They don't even try to make budgets anymore, let alone balance them. They just do continuing resolutions and all these fucking omnibus spending bills and shit like that. There's no budget. There's no balanced budget. So what are these income taxes for? Oh my God, dude. The level of fucking, what is it? Stockholm syndrome. It's crazy.
Well,
yeah. Defend the IRS.
You said you've had it muted. You said you've had him muted. If you look in the top right-hand corner of that, you can see where I have him. I can't remember the last time I didn't have either him or his brother blocked. I have kept them blocked basically since 2018 or 2019. When I first started to kind of get active on Twitter, somehow I stumbled across him and his brother, and I blocked them right out of the fucking gate. I have never engaged with them.
I mean, dude, every single thing that he listed there, we already don't have with the IRS. What have they been? Pay your fair share. How long they've been saying nobody's paying their fair share? At least the last fucking 15 years.
What's my fair share? Why is my what's anybody's fair share? Why does a single mother who didn't work a single fucking day last year get a $10,000 tax return, but yet I, who worked my ass off, still owe another $7,000? How does that fucking make it?
Nobody will tell you what your fair share is. They'll just tell you that you ain't paying it. Whatever you're paying, it's not your fair share. That's what they've been saying since 2009 and Barack Obama. So apparently, even with the IRS, the billionaires aren't paying their fair share. So they're not paying their fair share. We're not balancing budgets. What do we need this fucking thing for? Just to crawl up the ass of by the way, they audit like poor fucking Americans. They don't audit these fucking rich billionaires because there's not enough money in it for them. Because the billionaires can fucking fight it in court. They got the money to do it. And most of the tax code is geared toward them because obviously they've been lobbying to get those fucking things put in there. But they'll just go after some poor fuck and be like, yo, do you owe us like an extra $500? And it's like, okay, what are you going to do for $500?
Well, like, look, they audited Donald Trump whenever he went to run for president and accomplished jack fucking shit. Like they wasted taxpayer dollars on an audit to accomplish nothing. Like, yes. And then you got the 3,000 word New York Times article that went into great detail about his IRS or his tax audit, and the headline made it seem like he did something terrible, but then when you actually read the entirety of the article, it was just what they determined was Donald Trump was really good at utilizing the legal loopholes that exist in the system to pay the minimum amount of taxes that is legally required. Nothing that he did was illegal. Nothing that he did was fraud. Nothing that he did was in any way nefarious at all. It was all 100% within the terms of the law. And but they took 3,000 fucking words to say that so that nobody would actually read it because they just wanted you to read the headline that said Donald Trump did some pretty shady stuff with his taxes. It's like, well, yes, but also nothing illegal in any way. Right. Shady, possibly, but that's the system that we have.
And again, that's normally why they don't really go after those kinds of people. They didn't hire 80,000 fucking IRS agents and then, put into effect that $400 transaction thing on Venmo payments to go after the Donald Trumps of the world. They're not going after the Rockefellers with that. They're coming after you because they can just muscle you into giving, they can get 200 million people to give them $300 extra. That's a lot easier to do that than to go after fucking billionaires who will fight you tooth and nail in court and can, take a principled stand, don't mind spending some money. That's a lot more effort than just being like, hey, you owe us an extra couple grand or an extra couple $100. And what are you going to do? You're going to go to court. You're going to hire a fucking lawyer. It's going to cost you fucking 5 times that to take a stance. And you have to prove your innocence against the IRS. The whole thing's fucked up and backwards. And the idea that anybody would call themselves an American and take the fucking side of the IRS is just, it's mind-boggling, dude. It's mind-boggling. They should all be fucking deported.
Things like the IRS are the entire reason we fought the American fucking Revolution to begin with. Like, if you're taking the side of the IRS, get the fuck out. What are you even doing here?
Yeah. I mean, dude, the whole thing is speaking of a constitutional crisis, the whole fucking thing is unconstitutional. It violates your fucking 4th and 5th Amendment rights every time you have to file a tax return. I've outlined this in previous episodes like years ago, but it's just like, yeah, you have a right to be secure in your fucking papers and you don't have to fucking incriminate yourself. That's why they always say, the IRS to this day will say that you voluntarily comply with the fucking with your tax return.
I'll have to look. I might have that one saved too, because I know I made some clips from that one back when. It's because remember we had the other one about the robber barons that I had.
Yeah,
I had that one bookmarked. I might have the one about taxes bookmarked too.
Yeah, that would be a good one if you can find it. That would be great. Because dude, it's pretty.
It might take me a little bit longer to find that one. I don't remember that one quite as specifically, but I do have a good idea. I'll try to find that one.
Well, it was probably right around April 15th.
Yeah, it was around the same time too.
Yeah. April 15th of one year. I don't know which one. But yeah, dude, the whole thing violates your constitutional rights. and they've never really defined what income is. Like, there's a whole bunch of things, dude. Irwin Schiff, dude, Peter Schiff's dad, who they fucking put in prison multiple times because he filed 0 income tax returns, and wrote a book about it. And like he made some very fucking strong arguments, in my humble opinion. And the whole thing is just, it's absolutely ridiculous. How are we going to fund the government? Well, we funded it through tariffs mostly, and maybe like a sales tax or something, but it was all excise taxes. And yes, we would not be able to be the empire of the fucking world if all the income from the federal government came from tariffs. That's the point. We weren't supposed to have this gigantic federal government with millions of people working for them, sending condoms to fucking Mozambique or some shit. And
we were never supposed to be the empire of the world. We were supposed to be a people's republic.
It's literally, dude, the irony of this is it's just fucking staggering, dude. To call the people that are trying to dismantle all the constitutional shit that the federal government's doing, they're calling them a constitutional crisis because they're trying to dismantle all the unconstitutional things that the government's doing.
Tell me you didn't read the Constitution without telling me you didn't read the Constitution.
Yeah,
when you
the whole point of the thing.
Constitutional crisis.
I love it when they're like, oh, yeah, you should try reading the Constitution. It's like, did you read it? Because the entire fucking point of the Constitution was to limit the power of the federal government. It says exactly what they can do, and it says exactly what the states cannot do, and anything else not mentioned is left to the states and the people. If it's not enumerated in Article 1, Section 8, the federal government cannot do it. So they cannot loan money. They cannot fucking give money to other fucking countries and shit. All that's illegal. All of it. It's just, it's fucking crazy, dude. They didn't even have authorization to print money. They have authorization to coin money. And then they described the states, what was legal tender was gold and silver. And the federal government can coin money. So they can make gold and silver. That's it. There was no authorization for them to print paper money. And they had paper money back then. That existed. They could have said that. In fact, they did in one of the earlier drafts of the Constitution. They gave them authorization to emit bills of credit. Those are your paper dollars. And they took that out. They took that out because they didn't want the fucking government to have a printing press. And that's why they created the Federal Reserve, which is this private entity to get around the fucking chains of the Constitution. The whole fucking idea of the thing was to limit the federal government, keep them chained down. James Madison, my alma mater and the father of the Constitution, if you read the Federalist Papers, he literally said the powers delegated to the federal government are few and defined. Few and defined. That's a fucking direct quote. Does it sound like anything the government's doing right now is few and defined?
You can't even find anybody in government right now that can define what it is they do, or how many things they're doing. So few and defined.
We have no idea. And the second we look under a rock and they're like, holy shit, dude, why are we chopping off fucking guys' dicks in Guatemala? And they're like, oh yeah, you can't do that. You can't. They just start freaking out. It's unbelievable. Calling it a constitutional crisis. Yes, we are in a constitutional crisis, but not because of that. Not because we're trying to dismantle all the unconstitutional shit. Jesus Christ, man. Watching them argue this is just, only Trump can get people to do this.
Well,
only Trump can do it.
And also, if the millionaires and the billionaires don't pay their fair share, then they're going to create a second class. You know, we're going to end up with a two-tiered system, especially in our education system, right, Bernie?
In America, we must not allow our educational system to become a two-tier system, a system which says that if you have the money, you got to get help from the federal government. You got to get a voucher to send your kid to a school that may cost $50,000, $60,000 a year, while the public schools will end up being segregated not just by race but by class. Most families in America do not have $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year to send their kids to private schools.
Yeah, because you're fucking stealing all of it.
Public money to make that possible. Our job is not to take away money from public schools to give it to private schools. It is to strengthen public education in America.
Okay.
Interesting that you said that. So the average private school. Yeah. So for instance, I did a bunch of looking into this because there was a constitutional amendment on the docket for 2024 in the state of Kentucky that included private charter schools would be included in public school funding. So I went and looked into it. The amount of money on average that is withheld from the average Kentucky citizen that is supposedly being allotted to go to public school funding is about 18 grand a year. That's the average. Holy fucking shit. On average, they're taking 18. They claim that they're taking and then distributing 18 grand per year per student to the public school system. The average in the state of Kentucky per year private school tuition is $9,000.
So the private sector is cheaper than the government funded thing? No, that can't be right, Justin.
You could give the parents their $9,000 back and still send another $9,000 out to all of the public school. But then when you really get to looking into it, what you find out is that what they actually send to the public schools is closer to like $4,500 to $5,000. Like they claim that they allocate $18,000 a year per student per year for these schools, but what they actually give the schools is between $4,500 and $5,000. Where's the other $13,000 fucking dollars going?
Somewhere, some other country that none of those kids in their government education system could point to on a map would be my guess. And by the way, we already have a two-tiered fucking system. We already fucking have it. Rich people send their kids where? Where did Barack Obama's kids go? Did they go to the fucking inner city DC public schools? No, they went to the fucking private schools. Where do rich people send their fucking kids? Private school.
I wish I had the fucking list still. There's a list of like all of the Democrat senators who are on the record as like decrying how we can't create this two-tier system by having by funding private schools and stuff. And every single last one of them sent their kids to private school. Not a single motherfucking one of them put their kids in public schools.
Dude, do you remember? I think we were doing a shithole Chicago segment where we were talking about the teachers union. And the head of the Chicago Teachers Union sends her kids to, wait for it, private school. Her own fucking kids don't go to the fucking school system that she advocates for. It's just like, you cannot make this shit up. You just can't do it, dude. It's, oh God forbid we should have a two-tiered system. Yeah, we have that. We have that already.
Oh,
God forbid we should have an IR. Like, what are we going to do? That the rich don't pay? The rich aren't paying their fair share, apparently, with the IRS. So what are we going to do? Double the IRS?
It was fucking nuts. There was and crazy that like we're talking about this right now. There was an article that came out in the Indy Star, which is a incredibly leftist rag, like super duper progressive, that talked about how private schools within Indianapolis were failing to accomplish what they claimed they were, and that they were like leaving black students were actually not doing well in these private schools. And there's this like super progressive leftist professor at Ball State that he and I argue with each other regularly on X, and he even pointed out, you do like his reply to the Indy Star was, you do realize you completely flipped all of the numbers on this, right? Like he even showed the charts and stuff in his reply. It was like all of the statistics and the research show that these schools are actually helping these black students, not hurting them, like you said in your article. Like that's fucking insane to me. I replied, I was like, I don't even know what to do here. Like I am at a loss for words. Like we agree on something.
Sometimes I just sent you one other thing. I saw this morning. I mean, like, dude, you cannot make like if you had to write a comedy about just how ridiculous the world we live in is, You couldn't make it any funnier than it already is.
This has got to be a joke,
Show us,
right?
show us who's in charge of the project of government oversight.
All right, fun fact. God damn. A blind man was put in charge of the project of government oversight. This is who the Democrats called up to oppose the Doge agenda. The blind, literally leading the blind. Holy fuck.
Yeah. I didn't listen to this yet. I just saw the fucking thing. It's just too goddamn funny, man.
And abuse is different from both. When we talk about improper payments, they are a subset of those other three categories. But that doesn't tell us the whole picture either. Sometimes improper payments are a function of bad record keeping. Sometimes they are a function of outdated information.
Sometimes it's just a function of me reading the Braille incorrectly. They literally put a blind guy in charge of the project of government oversight. He can't see. He is incapable of sight, and he's the overseer.
Bad things with bad intent.
I mean, is there anything funnier than that?
Somebody's moving his nameplate over where that it's in front of him. Somebody's like fixing the microphone where that you can actually hear what he's saying. Like the whole time he's just sitting there like rambling. They're just like, somebody just like set him down and they're like, all right, we're gonna say go, and then you're just gonna fucking talk. Like these are the lines. This is what you're gonna say. Just do it.
Yeah, I mean, imagine sneaking through a couple payments, sneaking them by this blind dude. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Like, you can't have a blind guy in charge of the oversight committee or whatever.
You gotta really dot your I's and cross your T's so that he can feel the Braille and figure out if you filled out your paperwork right.
Yeah. By the way, how much more fucking effort does it take? Because we have to produce the paperwork twice because nobody else that works for the agency is blind, and then we have to convert it to Braille so that he can look at it. No government waste there. You just hire a person that can see and you eliminate half of your waste, like right off the bat. Just like, it really is. Well, I don't know. Maybe they use like computer programs that just dictate it. That's probably, he probably just listens.
All right,
to
what's better? A blind guy in charge of government oversight, or whatever the fuck was going on in Worcester, Massachusetts, with their sanctuary city for LGBT insanity.
Dude, yeah. Wait, hold on. First, we gotta set this up a little bit. So, yeah, Massachusetts. This is like some sort of city council meeting that they were having. They want to vote to make Massachusetts a sanctuary city for transgender people. And gender diverse people, transgender and gender diverse people. So they wanted to defy all of Donald Trump's executive order, that trans can't use the fucking women's bathroom or whatever, and they can't play in women's sports, all that stuff. They want to make this a sanctuary city. And here are the people at the city council here, which is probably at like, I don't know, do they have these things at like 1 o'clock on a fucking Tuesday when everybody who's normal, it's not a fucking absolute freak show, is at work? They're working.
They actually do. I've checked the schedule on like our county and city council meetings just because I have like had some interest in attending one at some point just to see that they seriously do have them at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday when everybody's
of course, except these fucking freak shows who are unemployable because they're completely insane. We'll let them speak for themselves. You tell me if these are normal people or just somebody that you want to work with. And of course they all so these fucking city councilmen have to listen to this shit and they're just like, all right, yeah, let's like, I don't care. Yeah. Sanctuary city. If it shuts you up, sure. We'll be a sanctuary city.
Whatever gets you the fuck out of the building. Let's do it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and roll this.
Protect me because the federal government won't. And if you think you're afraid of Trump, you should see how afraid of Trump I am.
Can you wrap up, please?
Yes, I can.
Sorry, that was great.
If you say that you're afraid of Trump and that's why you don't want the city to be a safe space for trans people, you better prepare for trans people to make this a very unsafe space.
I'm shaking right
Pause
now.
it for a second.
I don't want to.
That chick, for those of you that are just listening, looks like one of those like pantomimers that you would see on the fucking street. She's got blue hair, crazy drawn-on eyebrows. I don't know if it's a chick or not. I don't know what the fuck it is at this point. And like, she's wearing white gloves, or he or she or it's wearing white gloves.
Very gender diverse. That's it.
Yeah.
Definitely captured gender diversity. Yeah, I'm not sure what this thing is either. This some sort of an ogre. Let's keep going.
To be here. I'm sorry. Am I taking too long pleading for my life?
You remembered how many children I have and that 2 of them are trans.
I speak as both the B and the T in the LGBT.
I'm multiply disabled. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder that causes me immense physical pain. I'm on the autism spectrum, and I have narcolepsy, and I couldn't drive myself here. So I had to hide from my driver that I was in drag, which is not an easy thing to do in drag.
I do not want to be here. It's my day off. I do not want to be in your DMs. I do not want to be in your email inboxes. I do not want my creativity writing diss tracks like Kendrick. I don't want to spend an hour applying glitter on my face so that you will hear and see me.
It's pathetic that she's got all of this on her phone. Like, none of this isn't like a research speech. This isn't impromptu. Like, this was all written out. She couldn't just like get up there and be genuine. She had to write this, whatever this fucking speach is. Like,
or maybe she's just reading a post from Reddit or something.
There's another 3 minutes of this shit.
Yeah, it keeps going.
I want you to listen to me.
Let us remember that the Nazis burned the books that the Nazis burned books on gender sciences first. Now the administration has villainized and marginalized migrant workers, trans, LGBT people, and even special needs, denying life-saving and affirming care.
Can you look at me and tell me how many of my friends need to die before you do anything?
Please wrap up.
Look at me.
Okay, we're all done here.
We're all done here.
Oh my god. Yeah, perfectly normal, perfectly healthy people. Yeah, go ahead, dude. Take them. Massachusetts, make yourself a sanctuary city for those fucking freak shows. We'll just put them all on buses, ship them over to that sanctuary city. I'm fine with that. How many different fucking things did that clown lady have?
I mean,
autism, some tissue disorder, narcolepsy,
all kinds of stuff.
Imagine,
like we knew that all of these people were mentally ill. You didn't have to like actually give us the full laundry list of your mental illnesses. That wasn't necessary. We could tell by looking at you. You didn't have to rattle them all off.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I think we should listen to those people though. They make very, very succinct, stellar arguments on every subject. I want their opinion. I value it. It's like, no, they're a bunch of narcissistic fucks who need to be told to just shut up.
Putting them all together in one place has worked out pretty well historically. Look at like Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible.
Hey, I mean, go for it. What was the other place that was? There's at least one. Maybe it's in California or something. They're going to be a sanctuary city for trans.
Oh, I thought you meant like historically. I was like, Weimar? Weimar? Is that what you're getting at? Yes. Oh, that's trying to become a trans sanctuary city now.
Yeah.
I got you. Sorry,
yeah, dude. It's like this is so again. Donald Trump signs a couple executive orders, and people have to be reduced to defending those people. Like, yeah, they should have safe spaces in cities where they can be. They can play on women. None of them are playing any sports, by the way. I don't know what those fucking things were.
Not with God. I want a narcoleptic soccer league. Like, I want a trannies with narcolepsy playing soccer. That's like. I would pay a subscription to watch that.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between a flop and them just falling over and going to sleep. Oh shit. Well, maybe that'll come right after we get the varsity girls flag football team across the nation. Which for some reason we're going to show a commercial where a girl takes on a bunch of dudes in flag football, even though it's a commercial for girls playing flag football against other girls.
I will admit, I absolutely sucked at flag football because my baser instinct of when I see somebody coming across, like the guys that I played flag football with, they're like, "Oh, you were like a Kentucky All-Star as a safety. Like, we're gonna put you at safety." Like, no, I was a Kentucky All-Star as a safety because when I saw somebody coming across the field going for the ball, I tried to remove their head. And like, you don't just remove that instinct just because there's flags involved. Like, I hit a couple people and got thrown out of the league, and it's like, yeah, like that wasn't flag football wasn't really for me. Not at least not on the defensive side of the ball.
They should have you rushing the QB, man. Let's get those fucking put your arms up. They have to loft the ball over your fucking.
Yeah, they thought I was gonna like stand back and just intercept all the passes. It's like that. What? Like I had a lot of interceptions, but that wasn't really what I did as a safety. It's like,
no, I'd have you rushing the QB. We had this one guy. He was like a legit fucking 7-footer. How did I find him? I forget how I met him, but I started playing like softball with him, and I brought him out to a couple of. Hang on.
Oh, Johnny's got to duck the mariachi music playing in the background as the band goes rolling by. It's fun. It's fun to hear the different random stuff. I don't know if y'all can hear it like on the podcast itself.
I hope not, but yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll catch like a glimpse of what's going on in the background for Johnny right before he pauses or right before he like mutes himself. It is pretty interesting. It's like,
yeah.
And if you're not watching the video, you can't tell when he pauses himself. So you think that I just like started talking about something organically, but it's because I see him roll his eyes right before he mutes himself because I know what's happening. So if you're watching the video, you can find those moments and like really, really listen carefully, and you might hear the mariachi band that's like walking down the sidewalk or whatever's going on.
That was like a car blasting something. I don't know what the hell that was, but yeah, that comes through from time to time. But yeah, we had this legitimate fucking. He was like 7'1" or like just a monster of a guy, and I was like, "Yo, dude, just rush the quarterback." And he just runs at the quarterback with his arms up, and the quarterback has to throw the ball, like just put a bunch of air under it, and then I run and fucking pick that shit off because you can't fucking throw the ball. You just have to loft it. Anyway, I don't know how we got onto that. We went from trannies to flag football, but
because we were talking about the Super Bowl commercial for girls flag football.
Yeah. Anyway. So, yep, Sanctuary City. Good luck, Massachusetts. Have fun with that. What else we got? Anything coming up on time here? I think.
The only other really big one that I saw there was the Adam Schiff clip, but it didn't hit me quite as.
Yeah, that guy's just a piece of shit. So.
Yeah, Chef is always a piece of shit. But this was actually some interesting news of the week. So apparently there have been some leaks about the ICE raids and stuff that are going on. And Tom Homan, who is never shy with his opinion on things, had some things to say about the leaks.
Sorry, Tom Homan. Tom, where are these leaks coming from?
Well, look, we think it's coming from inside, and we know the first leak of Aurora is under current investigation. We think we identified that person under investigation right now. The California leak, Secretary Noem, she's correct. Some of the information we're receiving tends to lead toward the FBI. But I talked to the Deputy Attorney General all this weekend. They've opened up a criminal investigation. And they have promised that not only this person lose their job and lose their pension, they're going to go to jail. They're going to criminally prosecute. So we're all over it. We got
Tom Homan. Tom.
Yeah. So they were going to conduct a raid. This was like one of those apartment complexes that have been completely taken over by like Venezuelan gangs.
Yeah, they were going to do a raid on some of the Venezuelan gangs, and it got leaked to the gangs, and so they basically they just like took off. Which I guess that kind of accomplishes the same thing, but like you want to get them the fuck out. So apparently some of these leaks are coming from the FBI, which is all the more like Kash Patel in charge of the FBI working alongside Tom Homan to gut the FBI of all these like fucking leakers and shit. Oh man, it cannot happen fast enough.
Right. And the other thing, I didn't have this clip. I didn't have this clip, but that was a bus. That's the bus. Only 2 more months of this, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. There's another clip because like AOC, I guess, was gonna host like a fucking webinar or something, telling like, you know, illegal migrants how to avoid getting deported and everything like that. And Tom Homan's like, yo, dude, like I don't know if this is like an impediment to our duties, but we've asked like the fucking Department of Justice or the Attorney General or something to weigh in on whether or not she's like officially impeding our fucking investigation duties or whatever. And they'll pursue fucking criminal charges on her for that if they can get it as well. Like that dude's not fucking around.
But Tom, you got AOC out there, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman, putting out a webinar, doing a webinar to help illegals avoid, I guess, apprehension, giving tips about how to continue to remain in the country and ultimately game the system.
And I sent an email today to the Deputy Attorney General. At what level is that impediment? Is that impediment? I'm not an attorney. I'm not a prosecutor. Is that impediment? Is that impeding our law enforcement efforts? If so, what are we going to do about it? Is she crossing the line? So I'm working with the Department of Justice and finding out where is that line that they cross. So maybe AOC is going to be in trouble now, but I need the AOG to opine on that. But because there's impediment, it's impediment in my opinion. I'm not a prosecutor, but we need some further guidance on that. But again, if we have to take every federal dollar out of the city, we'll do it. I mean, we're done. This is about public safety. This is about community safety. Knowingly releasing a public safety back in the public is just stupid. You're putting the public at great risk. You're putting our officers at great risk. You're even putting the illegal alien at great risk because anything can happen on arrest on the street. So we just want to make common sense. In sanctuary cities, they want to step aside. We're coming. We're going to do it for you. If you don't want to make your community safer, President Trump's going to.
Well, and everyone, blue cities across America, get ready. Tom, as always, thank you.
So I think I heard, I don't know where I heard this, might have been on Twitter or something, that AOC didn't actually show up to the webinar. She just bailed on it, which probably on advice of her counsel or whatever, because that does seem like, you know, if you're somebody in government, like at that kind of level, that you have like some authority where it's like, you're, you know, it's not like me telling some fucking illegal migrant, like, hey, you know, if you want to avoid, you know, getting deported, try doing this or that. It doesn't really hit the same as if it's coming from a fucking congresswoman. But yeah, sanctuary cities have, like, again, dude, look at what they're reduced to standing up for. Venezuelan gangs that took over a fucking apartment complex. We're going to defend them. We're going to defend the IRS. We're going to defend sending billions of dollars to other countries for stupid fucking reasons.
AOC just organized it, but she didn't actually participate in, like, she was not a part of it. She didn't participate in it in any way. These other people actually hosted it and did everything. She just was like the organizer of it.
Okay. That's what it was. All right.
I mean, and that's probably by design. I'm sure somebody told her this might actually be like legitimately illegal and you might fucking go to jail. And she's like, okay, well, I'll let other people do it. Like, do we tell the other people that this might actually be illegal and you might go to jail for it? Yeah, let them just handle that. That's on them. Like, I'm sure.
Yeah, let them, you know, hang them out to dry. Goddamn AOC. She's probably gonna run for president next time.
Is she older?
I think she will be. We'll see. That'll be it. Dude, could you imagine watching her in a debate against somebody like fucking JD Vance?
Oh man, that would be beautiful. See, you said it, and now I can't think of anything I want more.
Yeah, just somebody who's like, there's every once in a while, like she goes on these like rants and these tirades when they're fucking having these committee hearings and everything like that. And then like the one with Tom Homan was a great example. He's like, they're not here if they want fucking sanctuary or whatever. They can go through the port of entry legally. And she's just like, okay. It just shuts her up completely. She has no fucking argument. Anyway, Tom Homan, dude. I love watching these fucking guys, dude, just like cleaning house. It's just so entertaining. It's so fucking entertaining. I don't even care. Like I said this, I think either on the last episode or last week or something, when they were talking about, you know, how all of this stuff is like Doge is illegally doing this, illegally doing that. Like, dude, I don't care how we dismantle the biggest criminal organization on the face of the earth. I don't care if it's done legally. I don't give a shit. If Donald Trump writes an executive order tomorrow that abolishes the fucking the IRS and the fucking Federal Reserve and shuts down the government completely, I'm fine with that. I don't give a shit. I don't care how it gets done as long as it gets done. Fuck democracy. All right.
I think that's a good note to end on.
All right. Thank you all so very much for listening. Have a great weekend. Oh, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I almost forgot about that. Make sure you, I don't know, do whatever you need to do to stay out of the fucking doghouse this weekend. Unfortunately, this stupid Dick Clark holiday. But anyway, happy Valentine's Day. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back on Tuesday with the brand new episode. What are you playing? Somebody sent me that today. That's a great one.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Yeah, my heart goes out to you. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And until then, you guys know what to do. Just keep on peddling that so-called fiction. Peace.